Hey guys, Will here, and welcome to part 2 of my Ultimate Commander tournament vlog. Thanks again for joining me. I hope that the quality in this video isn't too bad. I'm not using my normal device because I'm having some technical issues there. Instead, I'm borrowing my wife's iPad, and I'm not sure the quality is going to be quite as good. But stick with me. Normal service should be resumed soon, but I wanted to get this out there to keep you posted on what I've been going on with. Now, first thing I want to say is this is going to contain spoilers of one of my recent battle reports, so if you don't want to know the outcome of my battle report against Jason's Orcs yet, then turn this off now, because I'm going to be talking about that. Go watch the bat rep, then come back and see this video. But if you've already seen it, or you're not interested in watching the bat rep, then watch on. So first thing I thought I'd show you is how I'm progressing along with the painting of the army. As you can see, these are the Wraithguard who weren't quite finished last week, and they're now completely done and based and got their transfers, and they are looking really nice. I'm proper chuffed with how they've turned out. Really good job on there. Unfortunately, in their first game, which was the battle against Jason's Orcs, that really didn't go very well. Unfortunately, it was a Horde Orc list, and there was no really suitable targets for these guys, or for that matter my Fire Dragons, to go for. So they were left to trying to just shoot isolated Orcs, which was never going to go their way, and they got taken out in combat with an Orc War Boss. So unfortunate, but you know, hoping to get a few more games with them and get some practice against, you know, the sort of targets you're really going to want Wraithguard to be going against. I've actually got a game coming up against Sam's Orcs, and he's got a second Gorkanaut from what I've heard, so that's going to certainly be a target that these guys can get their Wraith Cannons into. So yeah, moving along, I've got my Swooping Hawks. These guys aren't finished yet, but they're a little bit further along than last week. It took me a fair while to decide what paint scheme I was going to go with. I knew I wanted the light blue on the bodies, but I was umming and ahhing about the wings. In the end, as you can see on this guy, he's still not finished, but I've gone for white pinions with a white helmet, and then sort of bronzy gold on the wings. And like I say, this isn't fully applied yet, but it's getting there. And I think it's gonna look nice, and they're going to stand out nicely in the army. Now, if you're looking to see my Spirit Seer conversion that I showed you last week, I haven't got him to hand at the moment. He's actually just drying because his part of the conversion work broke. Long story, but he's going to be back soon. Doing a painting tutorial on that model at the moment, so keep an eye out. And once that's finished, you'll see what I'm doing with him. Again, he didn't have the best outing in my battle. He was basically went the same way as the Wraithguard, and didn't really have the targets for them. And then the one spell I did manage to get off, realised that I'd gone against a War Boss with the spell that stopped them running. Unfortunately, the War Boss was in Mega Armour and couldn't run anyway, so that had a grand total of 0 effect on the battle. But the Hawks did very well. If you've watched that battle report to the end, you'll see that the Exarch finished off a Dakka Jet, and the guys themselves made a nice little mess of some of the Orc boys there. Plenty of targets for them with their Las Blasters and grenade packs. So enjoying them and hoping to get them finished up probably by end of next week, and then the army will be most of the way to complete. I've also been working on a little bit of an upgrade for the existing models in my army. The example I've got here is my Dire Avengers, and if you've seen these before, you'll notice they've now got all the aspect symbols on their helmets. So I basically just had a night where I spent the whole evening with a bottle of satin varnish and the transfer sheet, and transferred all my aspect warriors. The only ones I couldn't do were the Fire Dragons, because unfortunately the Fire Dragon transfer only comes in black, and I'd painted the helmets black, so that wasn't going to work. So I hand painted the Fire Dragon symbol on them in green instead. And the Exarch, you see I've got a little bit of work going on the banner here. That's all transfer work on there as well, and that's looking quite nice. So yeah, in terms of how the army's looking, coming along very nicely. Should have it done. Now, list-wise, if you saw my bat rep with Jay, that's the list I was originally planning to run, and I might still be doing it. I'm just thinking I might drop the Spirit Seer. I'm not sure yet, but if I drop him and one single Dire Avenger, I can get another 3 jet bikes with scatter lasers, which are really considered to be one of the strongest units in the Orc army at the moment. But I'm not going to write him off based on one game. I've got 2 more bat reps coming up in the next few days before the point where I'll really have to decide which list I'm going to use. So might not get those jet bikes. We'll just have to wait and see. So yeah, as for the battle report that I've been alluding to, basically it was Dawn of War deployment, 3 objectives each, the one where you could steal each other's objective marker objectives, and yeah, Jay was fielding about 200 orcs and 3 units of cannons and a Dakka jet, and I just got pinned back. The Eldar were retreating, trying to stay at optimum firing range while still claiming objectives, but in the end we got backed up to the table edge before we'd killed enough of the orcs, and probably about 60-70 boys and a war boss crashed my lines, and from then on there was really very little I could do. My tank mobility had already been dealt with by the 15 cannons chucking out strength 8 shots all game, which I was eventually able to reduce a little bit with my warp spiders getting in the back, but yeah, in the end the resilience of the orcs just through sheer weight of numbers pinned me back, and it was obviously a very heavily infantry skewed list, which meant my fire dragons and my lovely new Wraithguard had no real targets. But hey, that's the way it goes sometimes, and it's certainly not a list I feel represents what I expect to see at Ultimate Commander. I don't think many people are going to want to push 200 orcs around for 6 battles over 2 days. I think people will generally be favouring the more popular tournament builds. Necron Decurion detachment, Tau with broadsides and riptides, and what's that new thing, the Storm Surge. Other Eldar will almost all feature Wraith Knights, so I'm going to have targets for those units. It was just yeah, a bit of an unusual list that I didn't have necessarily the optimum to beat, but hey, it's the way it goes. Still had fun, feel like I learnt a lot more. I'm still pretty new to Eldar, so any game is good experience. But yeah, that's about it for this week. By next week I'm hoping to have the Hawks almost finished, the Spirit Seer possibly done, and I've got another couple of bat reps coming up hopefully. Got some games arranged with Sam over the weekend, and hopefully you'll get to see the Eldar in action soon, and I'll get a chance to make the most out of my Wraithguard. So thanks a lot for watching, and tune in next time for another Ultimate Commander vlog. Thanks a lot. Bye.